All right, so what's next?
You want to talk about Burn the Witch?
Yes, let's talk about some fucking burning of witches. Oh boy. So you can go first with this one. What you think?
I'll keep it really short because I enjoyed the hell out of it. Really good, high quality animation. I love a series where I don't have to question whether any of the characters actually live in this world off camera. They do a great job very quickly of establishing both Noelle and the other one. I guess they have like pet names based on their last names.
Yeah, so like Nini.
So I was getting confused at first. I'm like, wait, is she Niha or is she Nini? But it's
yeah.
Nini. Yeah. But other than that, like, really loved that setup. It's weird if you didn't know that there was any kind of connection to Bleach, other than just it might be the same artist behind the designs. It would be fine because they don't lean into that at all in episode 1. They very quickly establish the setting of like reverse London, which is a cool idea, and it's like, I mean, let's be clear. This is Kubo read Harry Potter and decided to put it into the Bleach universe in some corner, off by the wayside. That's what this is. But if that doesn't make you excited, then you're dead inside. This is a really good take on some of the ideas that make something like Harry Potter a cool idea. Reverse London is not yet been sketched out, but like we have some idea even of like what the culture of this place is, because you see Nini's like ads all over the place, and like the talk of dragon insurance, right? Dragon insurance, and like people are out there living their regular ass lives, doing just regular ass stuff, which I love that. In fact, that's usually like the best part of Bleach, at least in the manga, where things aren't so dragged out. But like when you realize that like there's a whole culture and a society, literally a soul society, but there's like a whole culture out there, and all these characters, when they're given enough time, feel like they all kind of make sense in this world. Like I don't remember Nini's boss, but like that interaction where they get the
Banks
alert.
Jr.
Yeah, they get the alert. This is a guy named, is it Balko? Is that his name?
Bonfei?
Or whatever, the dragon-clad dude, where they get the alert, he's Balko. Fucking up. And then they're like, it's technically we're supposed to be doing this, but fuck that. Like, we're not getting paid for this shit. And they're like, yeah, let's go get a coffee. And then their boss comes up and it's like, yeah, okay, we figured out a way to pay you. And then they're like, all right, let's go. And that whole interaction leading up to the decision to take on the dragon by themselves, we then quickly learned, because maybe I wasn't paying attention, I didn't realize that like there were different parts of their organization. So they're pipers, which
and they were talking about the fangs or something, the sabers.
The sabers. So like pipers are for basically pulling the dragons out of the city so they don't cause any harm, so they can be hunted, and then sabers are for actually going and like fighting them straight up. And then things started to make sense. And I'm like, why they've got these like magical girl pistols that sometimes are horns? It's like, oh, because they're pipers. Pied Piper leading things. Like, okay, I get it. I get where they're going with this. Cute. Yeah. Cute. The idea that they want to move up in that hierarchy is cool because, again, we feel like these characters were here. It seems like
Nini is the only one that wants to move
up. That's true. Right. Noelle is like, I didn't ask to do that.
Yeah.
Which is it's a great dynamic. I love that. So I enjoyed it, and I haven't even gotten into like the upper tier of the sabers that we got introduced to at the end of the first episode. I got like Gote 13.
Gote 13 from that council. I was
but it was like it didn't.
They gave the nigga like 3 lines.
Yeah. And the guy's like, oh no, since there's no objections, the dude's like, I was talking. What are you talking about? so it's still got a lot of the humor that Kubo I think is actually good at when he's not wallowing in the same rescue the princess plot for the 18th time.
Oh my god. I mean, so that's one thing that really stood out to me, is that we don't even know these characters for an extended amount of time, but the comedy still hit. And it hit because I was like, it was so nostalgic, because I was like, this is some Bleach ass shit, man. This is some Bleach ass shit. And I ate it the fuck up. I was just like, I'm here for this shit. Like, I'm here for it. But let me tell you something. I lost my shit because this nigga does not know how to not be stylish. When Bang and Knife started doing his attacks with the fucking spray paint,
oh yeah,
I lost it. I fucking lost it. I was like, this shit is cool. This is cool. This is what I need. I haven't gotten anything like that from anything, I think, in a long time.
I 100% agree.
Like
100.
I'm just like, wait a second. This nigga spray paints his fucking spells and like, so that makes me even think of like, yo, how the fuck is everyone else casting?
It's what I always loved about Kubo, and it's why I was an apologist, even in the darkest days of like all the things that went wrong with Bleach, you know, top to bottom.
Yeah.
Is that there are so few artists in general. I'm not talking about manga. I'm talking about across all of art at any given time, like contemporary time. It's only a few people who truly can understand and express coolness for their audience at the period that they're working. I'm not saying that Kubo is Andy Warhol. I'm not saying that he's Prince. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is like the ability to find what is at the edge of coolness and stay there and expand it and grow it is a skill that has nothing to do with the medium that you're in. It can't be trained. It is just not possible, right? Because remember where we started, which is this is still Bleach, so it's a spin-off of an existing property that he already came up with in his own head. It's also heavily influenced by other things, which means that the risk of being derivative, even derivative of his own shit, is like sky high. So the fact that from that he managed to once again pull out a bunch of looks, ideas, and expression that when I look at this shit, this is what I want to talk about anime being in 2020.
Yes.
That's what I want to fucking talk about. This
Abso-fucking-lutely.
So, and it could even be bad. That's the other crazy thing. And again, it's a Kubo specialty. It doesn't, the story and everything else could all fall apart. You know, the payoff and the narrative structure could be ultimately wind up being, you know, questionable or rough or inconclusive or just not working. But the coolness is right there. And it's not just like, oh, this is impressive animation. The animation is fucking gorgeous.
Yeah,
but
it's gorgeous.
But this isn't like God of High School situation where it's clearly a bunch of talented people working on something, but structurally there's no ability to elevate that into a functional product. So what at the end of the day, you wind up just looking at it and say, okay, here are all the ways that this didn't work. Instead, the level of cool that is being expressed in Burn the Witch elevates everything up to where it's at. So even if stuff wasn't working, even if stuff didn't make any sense, like I was asking, like, what the fuck are these dragons even? What are they?
Why is dragon clad?
Yeah, why did this nigga's face fall off and a tongue come out and it wasn't dead? Like, what the fuck is going on?
What is a dark dragon?
What is I don't know. It makes no sense. But realistically, it makes no sense. But it's so cool. I want it to make sense. My brain wants it to make sense. And so that I think is I love this show. I love it. And sometimes I'm not even gonna know why I love it. It's just cool.
I mean, that's the thing though. If we get a series from this, I'm here. I'm here. We only got introduced to Bang Knife.
Right.
And the other girl, Squire, who was part of the council, I was just like, man, I can't wait to see all of the council's powers now. Especially the little old dude with the little fro on the other side who was just like in his own little world. I was like, oh, that nigga's powerful as fuck. I know. I just like, I'm excited for something that hasn't even been announced. But because he's continuing the manga, I'm like, well, bruh, you know, once they wrap all that 1,000-year war shit, we need Burn the Witch, like, to be the primary focus. Because it was just so good. And like, even I enjoyed all of like the story elements that even though they weren't like fully fleshed out, by the end of the movie, I kind of was like, oh, okay. So I kind of see how everything connects. I kind of see how like, you know, they brought in the Martian, what the fuck? I can't pronounce it right now. Thank you, German diction. But how they brought in like the elder dragons. I'm calling it elder dragons right now. Yeah. The elder dragons and when they like explained it in that little itty bitty thing, I was like, oh, that's cool. Oh, but one of my favorite things was when as soon as they introduced Cinderella, it made me immediately remember the beginning where Nini and Noelle first met up and they were in front of those glass mirrors on that tower and it was Cinderella and I was like, look at this shit. Look
I was
this.
Like, I got through the first episode. I'm like, fuck it. I'm reading this manga. I'm good. Let's go. I'm in. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's happening.
The symbolism was there from the jump. And I was just like, as soon as they said Cinderella, I was like, bitch. Because I paused it when they were doing that. And I was like, this is very obvious in the background. Why is Cinderella there with Homegirl? With her fairy godmother? Like, is this a shout out towards something? And I was just like, oh my God, I love it. I also enjoyed, I would like to see where like Nini was talking to what's her name, Macy? To Macy. About how like, you know, no matter what kind of relationship with dragons you have, eventually they're going to become there are times where you just can't control them. And so I'm just like, I'm also pretty positive that, you know, the Martians aren't what they think they are, and maybe the council is trying to get rid of the Martians for one reason, but there's an alternative reason why they actually need to exist because there's some kind of fucking world order or some shit like that. Like, I would even put it past Kubo to somehow connect that shit to Soul Society.
Yeah, I mean, it will happen, or I assume that somewhere in the manga it's already happened.
Oh, really?
I mean, that's what my presumption is. I deliberately didn't go out of my way to like go read a whole bunch of stuff, but like there is a connection.
Shows the fuck up and burn the witch.
Yo,
there goes my money.
Stop
there goes my money. There
Stop
goes my
it.
fucking
No, my money's
money.
already gone. It's already gone. Like, I'm with it.
I'm talking about like I'm buying the limited edition copies. I'm buying. Like I'll give this nigga. No, I'm not gonna give this nigga all my money. I need to survive. But like,
you'll give a lot.
I will support this series. They have a golden egg on their hands. Yeah, they need to not drop this shit.
2 comments. Comment number 1 is that I hope, for the sake of the hype that's out right now, that whatever they wind up doing, and I'm using they loosely because I don't know who the production team is going to be for the Bleach continuation / finale, but whoever is responsible for that they think long and hard about fixing some of the issues with that final arc so that it can very smoothly transition over to Burn the Witch in the future. It might be 4 or 5 years from now because the manga is really not that deep.
Oh yeah, of course.
It may only be at 3 volumes or 4 volumes at this point. Maybe it's more than that. I should probably check. Maybe it's like 5 or 6 volumes, but it's not that. It hasn't gone that long, and
but there's more coming because he announced season 2 already.
Yeah. So, but in any case, since there's a likelihood that one day we're going to get both maybe a TV version of what's been written so far with Burn the Witch, and that we know it's part of the same universe. These things need to flow together, not just visually, but also from a story perspective.
Continuity-wise.
If they can pull the hat trick of addressing the unceremonious sort of canceling of Bleach as it was reaching its conclusion, and at a point in the future transition into something like Burn the Witch, or that universe, or that side of the universe, I think Kubo, since he's involved in all this, will have all of his sins expunged.
Absolutely, I agree. I mean, to be honest, just from this alone, I'm not gonna lie. I forgave the nigga a long time ago. I mean, I didn't like how Bleach ended, but I couldn't discount that, like, you know, Bleach was that shit.
Right. Also, that he was told that it was ending. It wasn't that he ended it that way. It's that his editor said you have two chapters to end the series.
I still wasn't pleased. God damn, nigga. I still wasn't pleased with the 1,000-Year War arc, just in general. So
it was okay. I mean, like, I actually liked it because it wasn't another one of those, like, I mean, it kind of was a damsel in distress thing, but there were just decisions that got made for the purpose of saving time and energy that I didn't care for, and I do think that his art was worse by that arc. Like that was really the problem for me that took me out of it was that the art wasn't as good. The energy just wasn't there, and I didn't even know anything about what was going on behind the scenes. But now that, you know, it's been a while and there's been plenty of, you know, reporting and people talking about it, like, he was in a very serious depression. His editors, you know, the manga wasn't doing well, like, relative to the other popular things that were there. His editors were apparently really shitty. It was just a bad situation, and it did reflect in the series. But there was a lot of really cool stuff that if they just give it time to breathe, like, for example, the what do you call it, Squad Zero. Like, I would forgive everything if they just put the squads, the fights for Squad Zero back in. When they got off screen, that was the biggest, like, middle finger, I think, to a lot of fans who have been following and were still on board with what the fuck was going on. Like, they introduced a lot of really cool characters and gave them some moments. So you're like, okay, if they're gonna get wiped, which is fine, then at least, like, show them the respect. Nah, you just come a chapter later, everybody's washed and dead. So there are things like that now there's an opportunity to go back and revisit, which you almost never get. So please, gods that be, the anime gods, let that shit get fixed. If Burn the Witch is good and great, let everything be great. And then we can all be great together. Let's
combine these universes for the best of everyone.
Yes.